Welcome to the National Library of Medicine informational webinar. NLM is the world's largest medical library. Its programs range from consumer health information to medical literature to genetic data in support of the Human Genome Project. NLM is located on the campus of the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda, Maryland, and the National Institutes of Health is the nation's medical research agency supporting scientific studies that turn discovery into health. Today, you will hear information about an exciting career opportunity for Chief of Public Services Division, as well as an overview of the application process and how to navigate the federal application system, USAJobs. Additionally, we will respond to some frequently asked questions. Now, let's meet your presenters. My name is Melody Ng, and I am a part of the Corporate Recruitment Unit in the Office of Human Resources. You will also be hearing from Joyce Backus, Associate Director for Library Services at the National Library of Medicine. Ms. Backus has served a number of key positions of increasing importance and responsibility, culminating most recently with her appointment as the Associate Director of Library Operations in 2013. Later on, you will be hearing from David Wittenberg, a Human Resources Specialist at the National Institutes of Health. Please welcome Joyce Backus.
Well, thanks for joining us today to hear about the Public Services Division. I'm glad you're interested in our position of the Chief of the Public Services Division here at the National Library of Medicine. The Public Services Division, or PSD, is comprised of three sections: Reference and Web Services, Preservation and Collection Management, and Collection Access. And I'm happy to tell you a little bit about each of them today. One of the main functions of the Reference and Web Services section is to serve the customers who come to NLM for any number of our products. They serve the people that come to our reading rooms, they serve the people that come to our web services, and they do that through web interactions, email, and telephone. Another one of the key services of Reference and Web Services is Medline Plus, our consumer health website. As you know, families and patients all over the U.S. and the world need information about their conditions and diseases, and Medline Plus provides them this information from trusted organizations like our own NIH and other government resources. Reference and Web Services is also responsible for managing much of the web content at the National Library of Medicine. They're also responsible for NIH Senior Health, a collaborative effort with the other institutes at NIH. They work hard to be sure that they listen to customers, and our websites are consistently rated in the top in customer satisfaction and other government websites. Another section in the Public Services Division is Preservation and Collection Management. Preservation today involves much more than keeping our paper dry and safe. As you can see from these images, we're preserving software, moving images, and traditional print by digitizing it and reformatting. Preservation and collection management also still takes care of the print journals that come into the library. Although we all know journals are moving to e-publication nowadays, we still do receive thousands of print titles, and we consistently bind them to preserve them for future generations. Another key program of the Preservation and Collection Management section is to digitize runs of back files of biomedical journals. These journals become part of PubMed Central, NLM's archive of biomedical literature. PubMed Central has nearly 4 million articles from both our historical scanning and current deposits from journals who participate and also the NIH Public Access Program. Lastly, the Preservation and Collection Management section is responsible for the physical spaces that store our collection, including those here in the library on the campus in Bethesda, and also the Iron Mountain facility in western Pennsylvania, where we have archival copies of some of our collections. And last but not least, the Public Services Division has the Collection Access section. One of the key programs of the Collection Access section is DocLine, represented here by its mascot, Tugger. DocLine serves over 2,000 biomedical libraries around the world, bringing interlibrary loan requests to researchers and practitioners who need materials to serve patients and conduct effective research. The Collection Access section delivers these ILLs from our collections and also from e-journals based on our license, which allows us to do this, to provide documents to libraries throughout the U.S. and parts of the world. Every year, the Collection Access section serves over 60,000 deliveries to our reading room. Even though people can get to many of our collections from all over the world, we still have parts of the collection that researchers and other people want to use here on site, and we do that from our reading room here in Bethesda. So I hope I've given you an idea of the key programs of the Public Services Division and how these 60 or so people work together to provide health information to those who need it, both in the U.S. and around the world.
Thank you, Joyce, for that great overview. Now that you've learned a little bit more about the position, let's talk about how you can apply. USAJobs is the official job site for the U.S. federal government and is operated by the U.S. Office of Personnel Management, also known as OPM. Most federal civilian jobs are posted on USAJobs. Here's a sample of what a job announcement looks like. Make sure you read the job announcement carefully. We recommend that you print out the job announcement so that you can refer to it as you complete your application. The job announcement tells you valuable information about the position, including opening and closing dates, salary range, a job summary, duties, and required documents. Make sure your application is complete and submitted before the closing date. If you'd like to make any edits to your application after you submitted it, you can, as long as it's before the closing date. Now let's move on to the assessment questions, which can be found under the How to Apply section of the job announcement. This tends to be the section that many candidates struggle with. It's also a critical component of your application. Your responses will play a key role in the human resource specialist's evaluation, determining if you are highly qualified, minimally qualified, or not qualified for this position. Be sure that your responses are reflected in the experience section of your resume. Notice that the answers range from response A, no training or education, to response E, I am considered an expert. Just remember to be honest, not modest, and be sure that your resume supports the rating you select. So once you've submitted your application, you may be wondering what comes next. Typically, a series of system-generated responses are delivered to the email address you registered with your USAJobs account, but this may depend on your account notification settings. You can always log into your USAJobs account and visit the Application Status tab area to see the status of your online application. Here are some examples of the statuses you may see on your USAJobs application status page, as well as what they mean. If you have any other questions about your application status, USAJobs has frequently asked questions, tutorials, and other help resource pages that you can refer to. You can also contact the HR specialist if it is listed on the announcement. As a reminder, please be patient as it may take several weeks after the closing of an announcement before you receive a status email. Now let's welcome David Wittenberg, an NIH Human Resource Specialist who will answer some frequently asked questions. I've heard that federal resumes are different than academic CVs or private sector resumes. How are they different?
Federal resumes are often much more lengthy in order to include details describing an applicant's qualifying specialized experience for each specific job and time period. Federal resumes are focused on the day-to-day accomplishments for each position and are used in determining qualifications for an applicant, while private sector resumes generally are brief and include general employment and skill-based information. Academic CVs are often lengthy and focused on publications, education, and areas of study, but are generally skills-based rather than formatted to include detailed qualifying experience for each specific job and time period. An initial qualification determination may not be able to be supported if this information is not included in your federal resume and cover sheet. The federal resume and cover sheet, along with the personal assessment questions, which applicants answer for each vacancy, are reviewed to determine the applicant's initial qualifications for a position. If initially qualified and referred, the hiring manager will review the resume and cover sheet for interviewing decisions. The federal resume and cover sheet provide detailed information regarding an applicant's specific qualifications for each position. Each federal vacancy announcement on USAJobs includes examples of specialized experience for the position. These types of experiences should be addressed in the resume and tied to a specific job and time period. An initial qualification determination may not be able to be supported if this information is not included in your federal resume and cover sheet.
Should I include additional documents like letters of recommendation with my application?
It's not necessary to include any additional documents which are not specifically requested in the vacancy announcement, but applicants may choose to include additional supporting documents if they desire.
Can you explain what expert means in the assessment questions?
The term expert is used to show a high degree of expertise related to that specific question. While self-certifying expertise can be subjective, it is important to be truthful without being overly modest. Just make sure that your resume contains quantifiable experience that backs up your answers to the assessment questions.
Will I need a security clearance for this position?
These positions are considered public trust positions which require a high degree of integrity with public confidence, which will entail a higher level background check. All federal employees, including the selectees for these positions, will undergo a background check in order to determine suitability for federal employment, but a security clearance is not required.
Is there an educational requirement for this position?
Supervisory librarian positions do have a specific educational requirement. Applicants must possess professional education in library science, which includes either A, completion of at least one full academic year of graduate study in library science in an accredited college or university, in addition to completion of all work required for a bachelor degree in any field, or B, a total of at least 5 years of combined college-level education, training, and experience. The educational requirements will be listed on all vacancy announcements.
What does the pay range mean? Will I be offered the highest dollar amount or the lowest? And how is that determined?
Federal law requires initial pay offers at the lowest dollar amount of the pay scale. NLM may consider matching candidates' current pay based on superior qualifications of the candidate, but cannot go over the pay scale.
How long will it take me to be called for an interview?
Applicants will receive status updates through USA Staffing regarding referral status. The referral list is provided to the hiring manager 2 weeks after the vacancy closes. The hiring manager will decide who is interviewed within 90 days of receiving the referral list.
I've heard that veterans get preference for federal jobs. What does this mean and how does it apply here?
If a veteran applies and is rated as a best qualified candidate, they will receive preference. Should this occur, non-veteran qualified applicants cannot be referred, unless the veteran declines or withdraws from consideration. Applicants will be notified via USA Staffing that they are qualified and have not been referred.
Thanks, David, and thank you all for joining us. Best of luck!